20th of September, boletes. Boletes are a group of fungi that are easily recognized by their fat stems and pillar-like caps, which have pores rather than gills underneath. They include some of the most prized edible species in the world, and so are more familiar to Londoners than most other fungi. As there are very few poisonous boletes, and they are relatively easy to identify in the field, they are very popular with pickers. There are around 80 or more different species in Britain, of which 21 were recorded in Windsor Great Park in a single foray, making it possibly the best known site in Britain to see them. Most are found under oak, but others have associations with beech, birch, Scots pine, larch, and even older aspen and hazel. They are not going to be found under ash, rowan, whitebeam, cherry, hawthorn, or sycamore, but are likely to be found near old veteran oaks, especially in short grass and moss beneath them. Consequently, medieval deer parks and old boundary banks in woods are especially good places to look for them. The bolete season is a long one, usually starting in late summer and finishing in November, but on the whole they tend to appear in the early part of the season, so now is a good time to look for them. Other good places to find them are Epping Forest, Burnham Beeches, and Richmond Park. There are 4 main types. Though there are those with the familiar sep or penny bun shape, boletus species, scaly stem boletes, Lycinum species, those with sticky viscous caps, Suelis species, and then a number of oddities, all of which still have pores rather than gills. The sep, French, porcini, Italian, or penny bun in English, is the greatest prize of all. This is the most sought-after edible fungus in the world, except perhaps for truffles, and can be found dried in most London supermarkets. In the wild, it has a light brown cap, dumpy shape, white pores that age to a pale olive colour, and a diagnostic white net at the top of its stem. Nets are interconnecting threads laid on the surface of stems, especially at the top of them. It can be found throughout London, but being such a large species, it seems only capable of producing a small number of fruiting bodies when it does occur. Londoners traditionally never tell anyone where they find them, so that they can return to the same location and collect more later. Now they are likely to be firm and solid and not attacked by maggots. Later, if left, they get far larger, softer, and more overblown and are quite useless to eat. As ever with fungi, there are other species that are similar looking to seps. These are Boletus aestivalis, Boletus aerius, and Boletus pinophilus. But instead of being poisonous, in this case, they're all just as good to eat. Londoners, especially Eastern Europeans, like to pick the bay bolete, Boletus badius, which is often found in better numbers and also usually in better condition. The most commonly found species in our area is loosely called Boletus chrysantron, which probably occurs at one time or another in almost every wood in London. It is usually small with a brown cracked top and red stem, which tends to be yellow at the top. It is often far too small and too soft to merit picking. There are several different species, including Boletus perosporus, which is very similar but with much duller colours. A typical feature of many boletes is that they turn blue when bruised or cut. This colour change can be quite dramatic. In species such as Boletus erythropus and Boletus pulverulentus, the latter species is likely to be totally blue by the time it reaches home. Bluing occurs much more slowly in species such as Boletus lanatus, and in Boletus albidus it's much paler blue than is produced. Another typical feature of the group is that many have quite fierce blood red colours, making them quite sinister looking. The most commonly noticed is Boletus erythropus, partly as it is often so large, has a snuff-coloured cap, blood-red pores, and blues so intensely when cut. The only really dangerous species, especially if eaten, is Satan's boletus, Boletus satanus, and the similarly deep red Boletus legalii. This small group of deep red boletes tend to cause indigestion, gastric upsets or worse, and so are best avoided. If deciding to be adventurous boletes, it is always worth getting to know the bitter bolete, Tylopilus phellius, and the scarlet stem bolete, Boletus calopus. Both are so bitter they instantly destroy any dish they have been accidentally added to. Few boletes are scented, but 1 or 2 may be partially recognized by their smell. For example, Boletus impervitus, iodine, Boletus fragrans, fruity, and Boletus satanus, rotting garlic, and Boletes piperatus may be identified by its taste as it's so peppery. Another group of more difficult to identify boletes are those with felty or velvet brown caps. Two of the more common ones have especially bright yellow pores, that is Boletus submentosus and Boletus lanatus. In the latter species, the pores are larger and more angular. One last species that has to be sought out, although it may take a few years, is the lure boletes, Boletus luridus. One specimen can produce as good a range of colours as any other plant or animal in London. Its cap can be chestnut brown with elements of orange, yellow, or ochre, all moving to an olive green with age. It has yellow pores with orange-red rims. Its stem is yellow but red at its base and covered in a red net. The stem's flesh is pale yellow, yet a deep purple red at its base. And on top of all this, most parts turn cobalt blue when bruised or cut. Although fascinating to look at, it unfortunately causes diarrhea if eaten. Other boletes recorded in the London area include Boletus rubellus, Boletus vaccinus, Boletus radicans, Boletus rubinus, and Boletus pronatus, the last species tending to be seen at the end of the season.